Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I was lucky enough to chat with actor Michael Beach. And whether you know him from ER, Waiting to Exhale, Soul Food, or as Mr. Terrific on the Justice League Unlimited animated series, you've definitely seen his work. Today, we talk about his series on Apple TV, Truth Be Told, where he plays Ingram Rhodes, husband to Octavia Spencer's character Poppy. We talk about working with Billy Bob Thornton, his favorite roles from his long resume, how he continues to stay excited and find his passion for acting, and much more. Hope you enjoy.
What's up, Les?
Not a whole lot. Recovering from Thanksgiving. How are you?
Well, at least you're recovering. I haven't recovered.
Well, thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Sure, my pleasure.
I think anybody who's been a fan of true crime podcasts at all, which is apparently everybody who's a fan of podcasts, is looking forward to Truth Be Told. It's always tough to talk about mystery shows a little bit without spoiling them. I don't want to ruin it for myself researching it. I don't want to ruin it for my listeners. But what can you tell us about?
How much have you seen? Have you seen any of it?
No, I've not got. So I've not gotten to see it yet.
Okay.
And so I've just read about it, and I've got the book, but I've not read it yet. So because originally I read an interview with you where I think you talked about being excited about this project when it was still Are You Sleeping?
Right.
What, as far as what you knew going in and the level of secrecy that sometimes shows can have even for the actors, what can you tell us about getting the part and getting to play Ingram?
Well, about getting the part, I know that I think it was Octavia actually who, talked to Nichelle Tremble, the creative executive producer, and she had mentioned my name. I think she mentioned me and Mekhi Phifer actually, and she said, "Do you think we can get those guys? I would love to work with." She's worked a little bit with Mekhi, but never with me. And so they called up, and we talked about it, and I put something on tape for them. And then that was it. And then we were off and running. And I was excited because I'd never even met Octavia, and so I was excited to work with her and to see what to be involved in the first rollout of such an iconic company, jumping into this entertainment fray. So I was excited about it.
Yeah, there has to be some thrill of just or maybe comfort or security in knowing the level of backing that you've got here. I mean, you know this thing's funded, and at least going to get made right. You're not going to show up and there just be three people on set that you didn't get a permit for or something. This thing's going to be legit, right?
Exactly.
Right. Talking about meeting Octavia, having to tape something and send it in and meeting people day of. I know you had a similar experience on Beale Street where you shot your audition on your iPhone and then didn't get to meet Barry Jenkins until kind of production was about to start. Can you talk a bit about
until day one? I met him the first day I was shooting.
How do you as a person, as an actor, go about trying to establish that bond in a quick and effective way that's genuine?
Well, the best way to do it is to be prepared, is to have your work done and, really has asked enough questions about who the character is, what he's trying to do, how he fits into the story and with the other actors, because obviously every time you go into a new job, there's a slight level of anxiety on the first day. You don't know anyone, which is much more typical than actually, having had a rehearsal or, sat down and had discussions with the other actors or with the director about things. That's an unusual thing to have happen. So I find that the best way to start off what you hope would be a strong, fruitful, good experience and relationship is by bringing your A game. And you do that by preparing as much as you can. And then, of course, you're open to any direction that comes your way or any changes. But if you're not feeling secure, if you haven't done your work and you're not prepared, then any little thing starts to throw you, because you're not right in your head already. You already have enough anxiety because you just know that you're not ready. And if you're not ready, it's nobody's fault but your own. So I find the best way to start off a good, fruitful relationship is to make sure that I'm bringing, my A game with me, because I assume that's the reason that they hired me, and I don't want to disappoint. I want to make sure, whether it's just an offer or, even if it's somebody I worked with before, it's very important to me that they know that they didn't make a mistake, that their reasoning for casting me is going to be met with hard work.
Yeah. I'm always curious, the transition that people have in creative work from the time when we're young, when it's just fun, to discovering the parts of it that are a career, that are a job. Oftentimes it's having to do press like this, where you just don't think about that when you're wanting to go out for the school play. I might eventually have to
Right.
do interviews or whatever, but I know you came to acting kind of through a like a literal sidelining, lacrosse injury and discovering theater that way. But going from there to the taking it seriously that is required to go to Juilliard and to make this a career, can you talk a bit about um, discovering the passion that carries you through that kind of rigorous preparation? Was it something that you carried forward from athletics, or was it something that you discovered in acting that you really loved, that got you through that? Sometimes training's a grind, but you got to do it.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think one of the things that, when I realized I couldn't play anymore, lacrosse wasn't really, that's where I definitely got hurt, but football was my sport. And off season I played lacrosse, and when I realized I couldn't play anymore, I lost, I was searching for that thing that, really got my adrenaline going, that really excited me. And I found that, when I was first approached to, be in a play, I thought, that's really crazy. Why would you ask me? I have no, what made you think I would be interested? Once I started the rehearsal process, from the very first play I did, I was like, I like this. This is fun. It was, all about the exploration, about questions and, trying to figure things out and trying to make them make sense. And so I really enjoyed it. And then when I got on stage in front of a live audience, it gave me that kind of feeling that I had when I was on the field carrying the ball, or getting ready to carry the ball. It just gave me, that kind of high, even on a larger note, and I always thought that I would be, in the theater, and I thought I would be a theater actor, which is, where Juilliard came from.
Mm-hmm.
And when I auditioned for Juilliard, I had no idea. I didn't know how, impressive the school was supposed to be. Obviously, I'd heard about it, but I think I'd only been acting maybe 8 months, maybe 9 months or so before I auditioned and got in. So it wasn't even then, I guess I thought I would do it professionally, but I wasn't sure how serious I was. I mean, I was only 17, or 18. I think I was 18. And, it, you know, and then once at Juilliard, and and it turned out that it wasn't a fluke, that I did have some talent, you know, and they didn't kick me out, which is what they do, or they used to do. That's when I started thinking, oh, okay, I guess I could make a living at this.
In terms of, uh, you can't always pick your dream project. If you're going to be a working actor, you've got to audition for roles and find something to love, I would assume, in the work. Um, what at this point now still gets you going when you show? Is it still feel the same as it did coming out of Juilliard, or has it deepened or changed what you look for to get yourself excited about the work?
Yeah, that's a great question too, because before I was, the first few years you're excited, you're nervous, you're, going into an audition, you feel, you're. I had my body was tingling. I was like, yeah, and I was, I from that from Juilliard, I knew how the importance of preparation and being ready and coming, and so the audition process was very exciting to me. And over the years, that starts to fade, and you just, I would be in an audition room and I could fall asleep, before they called me to go into the room, which I've done a few times. And so it definitely has faded, but every once in a while, because now most of my work, I'd have to say probably about 80% or higher is offers. And I just feel I feel like are you still there?
Yes, yeah, still here.
Oh, I heard a beep. I'm
So
sorry.
did I.
I
I'm
just
not sure
feel
what that
like
was, but yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
that's weird. Yeah. Well, we're still here. But today I feel today I'm actually, honestly, to be truthful, I'm getting re-energized. I'm always excited by the fact that I don't know what's coming up, and I don't know who I'll be working with, whether it be a great writer or actor or director. And that's exciting. That's still exciting. And I feel fortunate because I still get roles that require something of me, where I'm not just spouting out some garbage, or I'm just not giving exposition. I still feel valued. I still feel like I get meaty enough material where I have to still be a detective. I still have to figure out the ins and outs about how the guy moves from here to there, why he makes this choice, why he makes that choice. I have to come up with those reasons and justify them, fill them, and so yeah, I'm kind of, over the last couple of years, I've gotten re-energized, and now, like right now, I'm actually producing a film that I'm also acting in, and I'm like, wow, maybe I should have started producing a long time ago, because there's so much more involved. I'm not just the actor coming and learning his lines and all the beautiful stuff that comes with that. But now I'm able to help shape the entire piece,
Yeah.
and help out the other actors, and our director, and talk about shots and how we can better tell our story, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm at 56 years old. I'm feeling, not quite like a kid anymore, but feeling as if I'm hitting another plateau.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think of you, from Waiting to Exhale and Soul Food and Beale Street, things like that. And then I see, Superintelligence on your uh, IMDb with Melissa
Oh yeah,
McCarthy,
yeah,
and so
right.
I would think it's got to be fun to sometimes play against type or get to work that comedy muscle. Um, is that something that you've consciously tried to do with different parts, or
No,
is it just something that comes up?
yeah, I'm up for whatever. As long as I find it interesting, I'm up for. My thing is drama. I love drama. I'll never move away from drama. But yeah, sometimes it's not nice to jump out of the box and try something different. And Superintelligence came about because one of the producers from Aquaman, he called us up and said, listen, I'm doing this film and I know you're working. I was working on, I can't remember what I was working on, but they needed me for a week for Superintelligence. And they said, can you fit this in? And we had to do a little finagling, but we were able to fit it in. And so I went down and I had a ball. It was great because it was one of those things where it makes me nervous because I don't really do comedy. I mean, I've done a few over the years, probably about, 5 or 6 things. But it's not something people, go, hey, let's go see Mike Beach and that, that comedy that he's doing. So it was nerve wracking and kind of exciting. And I had some days where I was, I felt a little bit like a rookie, and that's kind of exciting. So yeah, I just want to keep doing stuff. I just want to keep adding value to projects and hopefully, and I feel good that people still think that I add value to their project, that they still hire me in key roles, things that really matter, especially when someone's putting in millions of dollars into a project. I doubt they hire people that they think are gonna, help
Yeah,
sync their project.
yeah.
So it makes you feel good that they want to include you.
Uh, just knowing you from, I'd read an interview with you where you talked about uh, at least the Waiting to Exhale role, getting you yelled at in public sometimes. Um,
Right.
and so when I'd seen you were cast in this, that was one of my first thoughts was, do I need to be worried about Octavia or Poppy being married to you? Is this going to be like trying to convince me that Sean Bean's going to survive a season? And like, I know he's not. It's going to go bad. You can't fool me. Um,
Right. Right.
and so, yeah, I'm excited to get to watch the show and see if they what all you get to do as Ingram Rhodes there. Thank you so much for
Well,
taking
yes.
time. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, my pleasure, bro. It was a good interview. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day, Michael. I really appreciate it. Oh,
My pleasure.
man, I
Take
wanted to.
care. Oh,
I did want to ask you one last thing. I apologize.
sure.
I
Sure.
looking back all week, telling people I'm going to get to talk to you. I love bothering my friends with this stuff, but everybody seems to know you from a different thing. I think the first thing I might have really seen you in was either Rebound. I can't remember if that was an HBO
Mm.
movie or what about
Yeah,
Earl
HBO.
Manigault.
That was an HBO movie. Yeah.
Uh, do you have anything in particular out of everything you've done that you just wish more people had seen, everybody had seen?
Well, that's a good question. I think I don't know, a lot of, like, when I know somebody is really into film, and they actually know a little bit about my career, because a lot of people come up to you and they go, "Oh, I've seen you in everything you've done," and you just, you chuckle because
Done a lot of
that's
stuff.
not true. It's like, yeah, and I mean, partly because, yeah, okay, I've done a lot of stuff, but then it's just like, yeah, then they know me from some popular stuff. But
Gotcha.
it's like, most things that you do are not popular. They don't become popular. But I think if anything, the one of the few projects that I wished more people knew about would probably be One False Move, a film I did in the very, very early 90s, Billy Bob Thornton's first script that he ever got produced, that he acted in, and it was me and him and Bill Paxton.
Oh my God, I saw that
Cinda
working in a video
Williams.
store. I worked at a Hastings in the 90s, and it's the only reason I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
I had forgotten all about it. Thank you for putting that back on my
yeah,
radar.
and that right. See, that film was, I mean, that was I think it was like just over $1 million that they shot for. Carl Franklin was really had just left Roger Corman, and so this was like his first non-Roger Corman film, and it was nobody was going to see it. It was the IRS media project, which is now defunct. And the only reason they knew about me, is because a year and a half before I had done a film called, it was either The Chair or Guilty as Charged or whatever. It was a film my agents told me not to do because the script was pretty pedantic, but I did it because Rod Steiger was in it. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm going to turn down a film where I get to do scenes with Rod Steiger? So there's no way. I would pay them to do that. So, yeah, the movie was not very good, but I got to work with Rod. It was, I heard great stories from, On the Waterfront, which is one of my favorite films, and, Brando stories, and Isaac Hayes was on it. And, it was just fantastic. I had a great time. And because of that film, I was brought to the attention of the people that did One False Move. And the year One False Move came out, Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert were huge back then. And it was in their top 10 for the year. One of them had it as their number one film, and the other had it as their number two film. And it was only because of them that it got the play that it got. But I think if, to answer your question, that film, because I think what we pulled off in the little bit of time that we pulled off, and obviously, what's happened to Billy Bob Thornton and, the career that Bill Paxton had, God rest his soul, it was just that was a film that I wish more people had seen.
Well, and I'm a sucker for crime noir. It's a genre that I love because it can be done on a low budget, especially if they're trained by Roger Corman. God,
right,
and
right,
and I think at the time the only thing I knew Billy Bob Thornton as was the Faro dealer in Tombstone. I think that's about the only thing I'd really seen him in at that point.
Yeah, but I don't think he was in. I think this is before that.
This might have been before
sure
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy.
Yeah,
Billy
this is
Bob
his first.
was totally unknown. Yeah, he was totally unknown. He looked nothing like he looks now.
Yeah.
I mean, he was much heavier. He had his long hair, and he's losing hair in the front. He was just a straight. He's a guy that he was built for the role. He's like this, redneck, dude from Arkansas, and but you could tell he's like, this guy can write. This guy can write, and we've been friendly ever since. And he actually wrote another film that I did that he called me for, called A Family Thing with Robert Duvall and James Earl Jones, and it's completely different than One False Move. So he's that dude is a real talent, man. And I
had no idea until this moment that he
6 months ago.
Yeah, I had no idea until this moment that he wrote A Family Thing with Tom Epperson. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'd seen it, but I didn't mark it at the time. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I really can't. Really fun to get into chat with you. I really appreciate it. Looking
Great.
forward to
pleasure.
seeing
Thanks a lot.
your new bit of crime. In Truth Be Told, I'm sure everybody will dig it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Les.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.